I would love to invite you all back to your seats. Oh, yay, you got the book. Taking a picture of it wasn't enough.
I had checked it out from the library, and I did not finish it.
So now you'll have a reference.
Now I'm going to look at visual stamps because my daughter has extreme.
Oh, yeah. It's fascinating.
I know. I'm the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Completely.
Well, during the break, I did have a moment to look up about the ears. And the word that would not come before, but that came, was actually deafness. And that is there. So I'll read that and then I'll continue on, since that was left hanging there. So deafness, the probable cause is rejection, stubbornness, isolation. What don't you want to hear? And don't bother me. The new thought pattern is I listen to the divine and rejoice at all that I am able to hear. I am one with all. Yeah. There you go. They help you hear. So I know there's a few more coming in, but I'd like to share and start off about her mirror work. So I did find out that not everybody is aware of her mirror work. So I'm glad I have this here for all of you to share. And it really is the idea of, first of all, looking at ourselves, taking the time to recognize ourselves, to look deeply into ourselves. And I loved this picture of her hugging herself and just loving ourselves in a different way. Now, when I've been in a difficult space or in even anger or depressed, I've had a difficult time looking at myself in the mirror. Never mind looking at myself and then talking to myself in the mirror. It can be very uncomfortable. It can be very freeing. It can be very joyous. It can bring up all kinds of goodness. And we're going to get a chance to do it. And I had it hidden so that nobody would leave before I brought out the mirror. Of course, it's a choice, but I'll start it off. And really what the idea is like I was saying, just to love ourselves in a different way, to acknowledge ourselves. What she recommends saying, and you can word it however you would like if you choose to do this, is saying our names. I feel it's important to say our names and speak that out loud. And I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of myself. So I'll start off. Michelle, I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of you.
Oh, there we go. Hi. Ronald, I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of you.
Deb, I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of you.
Oh, Glenn. Oh, man. I love you. I love you. I approve of you. You're awesome, dude. Woohoo.
Oh, hey there, Marion. I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of you. So there.
Betsy, I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of you.
Angela, I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of myself, and I am safe.
DJ, I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of you.
Omarosa, I love you.
I really love you. I love and approve of you.
Hi, Ruth. I love you. I really love you. And I approve of you.
Hey, he didn't want the mirror. Yeah, exactly. Here, come over here, sweetie. Aloha. I love you. I love you, Desiree. And I approve of everything that you do. I love you. Aloha.
Malia, I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of you.
Whoa, who's that handsome guy? Tommy, I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of you. Thank you.
Sonia, I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of you. Thank you, Sonia.
Adara, I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of you.
Patrick, I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of you.
Rita, I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of you.
Ron, I love you. I really love you. I love and approve you.
Charles, I love you. I really love you. I love and approve of you.
And together we say, and so it is. Can you feel it in the room? Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Well, my invitation would be to do that on a regular, whether it's morning, noon, or night, morning, all day, while you're driving, when you're walking by something, you see a reflection. It's a different practice. And sometimes, did anybody feel uncomfortable or it just felt new and different? What did you feel? Let me pose it that way. What did you feel? You can just yell it out. Unfamiliar. Yes. Silly. Mm-hmm. Sure. That's something new and silly. Fun. Empowered. Honoring. Beautiful. Yes. Collective. Right, and having it be all of us together and creating that. Yeah, it was very, you're welcome. It was very, from my perspective too, I couldn't stop smiling. And thank you everybody for being courageous and telling yourself you love you. It's important. It changes our lives. It really does. So I'd like to share some of Luisa's personal beliefs. A lot of these you hear in her writings, in her meditations. When she would speak, she was a powerful speaker. I was asked at break if I ever had a chance to hear her live. I did not, but I know that we have someone in the room who had, and perhaps we'll get a chance to share later. So one of the things that I hear her say a lot is that the point of power is always in the present moment. Always. Our mindset creates an atmosphere in our bodies to invite disease or health. So we may not directly be inviting the things that are in that list, but our mental atmosphere creates the place for that to occur. Experiences must match our beliefs. So if something is occurring in our lives that we may not be wanting, or we're wanting something different, or we're wanting to shift it, that's because, well, it's happening because of something we believe. So that's where we need to whittle down. And that's why it's so important, too, when something really big is happening, like come in for a session here. We've got Rita, we've got Patrick, we've got Rob and Roseanne and Malia, and then soon Stephanie and I, and now we have Reverend Peggy and Reverend Diane. Like, we've got so much support here because those sessions, that's how we find out what's really going on. And it's beautiful, and it's great to come up to the practitioners after service for our little 1-minute miracles, but really delving into finding out what's happening, and then discovering what the spiritual opposite is to affirm that. That's where the power is, and it was very moving and an honoring experience for me to be able to do that during my internship. Like, I just really got to put what we've been learning and make it happen, and not make it happen. I'm not making it happen, but I mean acting in it and having it in my life. So our experiences must match our beliefs. Everything is a thought, and a thought can be changed. If she has not said this a million times, she has not said it once, because this is something that is exactly rooted into what she really, really shares and believes and teaches. And that we do choose our thoughts, positive or negative. We are always at choice. And then she actually does have a belief that we choose our parents, that we choose what our experience is with them for us to learn and grow. And I agree with that too, and my mom brings that back to me very often when she says that not to forget that I chose her. So if someone is suffering, and it could be from little to really big suffering, but when there is suffering, there's some kind of self-hatred going on, and it shows up as not enough, don't do enough, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve, whatever the verbiage it takes on, because it can take on 100,000 different forms, it still comes down to that kind of belief. And then the self-love and the self-forgiveness is the key of healing that and changing that around. She believes that resentment, anger, I didn't put the whole word. Resentment, anger, and guilt cause so many of our diseases. Dis-ease, also. She always calls it dis-ease, that our bodies are at dis-ease in our life. And it's really what happens when we don't take responsibility. Like, if we're taking responsibility for our lives, there's no one to blame, especially when we take 100% responsibility. And that everything and everyone is a mirror of what's happening inside. Now, I feel like I'm just getting started on her life work, because her biggest contribution was creating Hay House. No one would publish her pamphlet. Remember I said she is and was a renegade. Like, it was unheard of for people to really be putting this kind of information out there. So she published it herself. She's like, okay. And when she started Hay House, she was 61. So this is, again, going to that belief that age is not a limitation. So in 1987 is when Hay House was created. She self-published when it wasn't even a thing. Now, if you go onto hayhouse.com, it is full. It is unbelievable how much is just available. And you can go to YouTube, Amazon, you can get from anywhere, and there's lots of free resources too, and the library has a lot. But now it's gone from her 2 books to hundreds of authors, hundreds of books, calendars, cards, meditation CDs, seminars. They have a really great interactive Facebook page where you can get lots of free things as well, lots of meditations, online apps, some free, some that you pay for. I mean, it's on and on and on and on. And it's been amazing to just see the growth, and it does continue. And then her own work. She has published her own work. She has dozens of books. I'll have the list later. Her own cards. She's an artist as well, so some of her cards are her art. And coloring books, I mean, just on and on and on. But she's also given a platform for other New Thought authors, because she's one of the major, not just she, but Hay House is one of the major publishers for New Thought in the New Thought realm. And it reflects like her openness to try anything and everything. She also had a movie, a You Can Hear Your Life movie. She helped Wayne Dyer do his movie, The Shift. And then in 2012, they had a huge 25-year celebration. These are some of the authors. This is Cheryl Richardson up top. She did a book with her fairly recently, within the past 4 or 5 years. Wayne Dyer, Doreen Virtue, Dr. Christian Northrup, and then Reed Tracy is a dear friend, but also the CEO and has run Hay House for her for several years now. And her and Wayne were extremely close, so close that she died 2 years after he did, almost to the day that he passed away. Hay House has now just blossomed into Balboa Press, which is the self-publishing aspect of Hay House. Then this, with Louise, that's all the different card decks and her work. They also have Hay House Radio, where you can hear interviews of all different New Thought people, not just authors, but speakers, just forward thinkers. Everybody that is all a part of Hay House has the opportunity to speak there. There's a Hay House World Summit, and it's actually coming up soon. If you go on to her website, you can sign up for it. And what that is, it's literally, it feels endless. Like, I don't even know if I don't have the time to listen to all that they offer, but all these free interviews with all these different people on topics galore. It's really unlimited, and you just get an email with links, and then you listen when you can. And then the Hay Foundation, which is her nonprofit. So when she passed away, her estate went to Hay Foundation, and all the proceeds now through the seminars or the workshops or anything like that all go through Hay Foundation. And that supports mostly children, but other organizations all around the world. And then there is a seminar series called I Can Do It. And they are all over the world. I believe that's where you had participation with her. And back about 4 years ago, I went to I Can Do It in Austin, as you're on. And I knew before I went that it was going to be life-changing. And many of the authors that are on this screen were there speaking, from Doreen Virtue to Nick Ortner, who does tapping. Immaculée, she is the Rwandan refugee that survived the genocide. Esther, she was not there, but she's definitely a strong part of Hay House. And then Anita Morjani, Carolyn Mice. And so for me, I was sitting in the audience. It was my first conference. It was 2 days. There were dozens of speakers, more than this. And what I heard, the thread I heard, whether they said it or not, was everybody left what wasn't really working to do what they were meant to do. And I called Ron. And at the time, I was tour guiding over the road, and I'd been doing it for about 9 years, and I was really tired and burnt and just knew something had to change. And I knew that everything that happened for me to be there was synchronicity, and it was divine. And I called Ron, and I'm like, I need to come off the road. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how this is going to look. I just know that I need to come off the road. And I came home, and I had just had my mid-year review, and I sent my resignation in immediately once getting home. And then about a month later, I heard about CSL. And I came off the road on a Sunday, and I think it was a Monday, whatever it was the day after was my first Science of Mind 101 class, where I met Deb, I met Rob, we were at Lolita's house, and there was however many of us. Yeah, and I had no idea what practitioner was. I had no idea what Science of Mind was. I just knew that when I came here, I was home. And I felt at home. And I just took class after class after class. And now, 4 years later, I've completed practitioner. Thank you. And I'm going back on the road as a tour guide. So I am a completely different person. I have a completely different mindset going back on the road, and it was just the timing was so significant to see that that this was completing, and they called to see. And the difference is now I'm an independent guide, so I can say no or say yes. I get to choose, and spiritual tours, I am helping to create one to come to Kauai too, actually, and vegan tours. So it's super exciting. And it was that excitement. So what went from a never ever went to I get to go back on and do this from a different place and as a different person. And I know that it's from all the work that I've done, and I know that it was a catalyst from this event. I shared that Luis is always learning and growing, and if there's anything that I want to take from creating this for all of you and just my time with Luis over the years, is to just always be curious and to always be humble enough to know that there's more and that there's different and there's all kinds of things out there. And she was always curious. She loved collaborating. That was one of the things she really loved to do, was collaborate with other authors, because she really believed that everybody had something to share. Everybody has a gift, and she wanted to help bring that through. And I share a little bit some of the different things, but she was super into tapping and juicing, and she created this book, which was one of the first books I read when I was wanting to get healthy. And on my journey to becoming a vegan, this book was really influential months before I made the decision. But it was, I was just drawn to it because it was colorful, it was beautiful, it was, everything that Louise is. And she co-wrote it with the nutritionist that she works personally. So she also, I said she was an artist, she also had the opportunity to open her own art gallery in 2014. And I mean, she was on and on and on. And even though she never remarried, she had a boyfriend in her 80s. So ladies, come on. You're right, yes. And her legacy is definitely still being lived out. It really is. And this is just a list of all her works. Like, this is just what she's done. A lot of it collaboration, some of it is definitely on her own, but it's always about love. It's always about healing. And it's always about finding ourselves and our true selves and doing the inner work first. So Louise died in her sleep. She was 90 years old on August 30th, 2017. I love this picture of her. She's an author, speaker, soulful teacher, healer, and artist, and just an amazing woman. I would have loved to have had opportunity to meet her in person, but I feel like she's here. I just thought this was great. Life is a lottery that we've already won, but most people have not cashed in their tickets. So hopefully we are cashing in our tickets. And then I would love to just open it up. We still have a few minutes. If anybody has personal experience, their own healing through Louise, we do need to keep it short so we can have other people share. But I would love to pass the mic around if anybody would like.
Because I had a friend who knew Robert Bitzer, and I think it was Robert Bitzer was the minister, the Science Mind minister that she went to, and told him that she had cervical cancer and she didn't want to go for the regular treatment. She refused to do it. And he said, "Do you really believe you can do this?" And she said, "Yes, I do." And then he just said, "Then let's get to work."
Yeah, awesome.
I liked her story. She said, I believe at 75, she said she always wanted to learn how to dance, but she said she was too old to learn, and she saw a sign that says you can learn how to dance one step at a time, and she really embraced it.
Yeah, I was just telling somebody, I lived through the 80s in LA during that whole scary time of nobody wanting to eat after each other, and a couple things that I remembered is they tried to go to her and say, okay, this self-love is really good, but marketing, you got to try something new and different. And she was like, what would be different than self-love? She stayed with that thread the entire time. And I was telling the story of a young boy. I was only a young boy. I was only 24, and he had lesions, and he was with Louise Hay a lot. And I went to kiss him, give him a kiss on the cheek, and he's like, don't do that. And I remember saying to him, I said, listen, if there's a God that would kill me for loving you and giving you a kiss on the cheek, then that's not a God I want anything to do with. And that really started my journey too, of being able to know that love will penetrate anything, any disease or anything. So I was blessed to be around her during that time of the 80s.
Yes, I'll come back to you.
So I had the honor of being, she called all her volunteers staff. And so I had the honor to be one of her staff for a couple of years on the I Can Do It conferences, because they were in San Diego. Oh, getting emotional about this. Isn't this interesting? So she was extraordinary. She was just extraordinary. And so I met her. She was in her early 80s when I met her, and she had a huge presence, a humble presence. She was no nonsense, and what I noticed was everything worked around her. Like there was this huge conference, thousands of people, hundreds of volunteers, and it just all worked. And to me, that's just miraculous because usually it's not that usually it's not that smooth, um, but it did. And she was the leader, so that had everything to do with her. So it was just a real honor to be able to do that. And the last conference where I was on staff, just a personal story. I had had interactions and was talking with her, and then the next thing I knew, I was in charge of taking care of Wayne Dyer's family during that time, which was also another another honor. So anyway.
Thank you.
I don't know whether this is a coincidence. I didn't know much about her, but about last week, I was looking for on YouTube for a morning affirmation and came across a recording from her, and then I was very drawn to it, and then I checked the audible.com and then ordered several of her Audible book on my phone. So every morning now when I go to work, drive, and it says it's 100 powerful thoughts. And then then also one is morning and evening meditation, and how to love yourself and receiving prosperity, And then it's very helpful. But thank you so much for this presentation to help me have a better understanding of her life and philosophy that makes more sense when I listen to her now. Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure. I know Amal.
In 1979, I started working in a dental practice doing chairside assisting in Hollywood. And it was a primarily gay practice. The doctors were gay, and most of our patients were gay. And before that, all my experience I didn't have any experience with gay men, and it was all, stereotype and stuff. And it was one of the most, and we were primary in treating patients with AIDS, because during that time, the epidemic came up, and we treated them. And I remember being at the Gay Pride Parade in West Hollywood one time, and the hayride came by. You could feel the energy coming off of that. I mean, physically, it was palpable, and it was just incredible. And that doctor eventually died of AIDS, and it was a turning point in my life. I love that guy. Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I was counseling with some families of members who had members that were AIDS, and I sent them to Hay House over and over and over again. And once or twice I went with them too, which was a life-changing experience.
I spent the 80s with Louise Hay, and there was a day in meditation where I felt her presence, and I realized there was something that linked every one of her "you can heal yourself" affirmations. And it was so simple, it just hit me in the face. But the first was the level of truth-telling. Powerful, holding nothing back, telling the truth about darkness in its dark or lightness in its light. And the second was the level of acceptance, no matter what you see in yourself or someone else. So I really wanted to bring those two qualities forward.
Thank you. Well, I have a fun story that I remember hearing about her when, I'm not sure who she was with, but someone picked her up from the airport and they had to go do something and do this and do that and do this and do that. And he's like, well, we can go here and then we'll kill two birds in one stone and then we'll go do this. And she's like, wait. She's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, if we do this, then we'll kill two birds with one stone. She's like, Why would you want to kill two birds? And with that, I'll close on the legendary Louise Hay. And just knowing that our time has been perfect, our time has been blessed. I know that something was felt here and moved here, and that spirit has been here. And I know that Louise has been too. And I'm just honoring her and loving her and knowing that it's all been perfect and that we leave here tonight just filled with love, loving ourselves, loving everybody else, no matter who they are, loving everybody else. And when we go forth here tonight, we just bring this love with us into the world, knowing that it changes ours and everyone's lives. Mahalo. And so it is.
I want to say something about this one right here. Rita and I were just, I remember when we gave Michelle the In the Light at the hotel, and it was hysterical because she was like, excuse me, and it's like, thank you, everyone. And it's like, I've never seen anyone ever could talk that fast, that ever could. And I remember, and what's been great about Michelle is Michelle goes, because she was so filled with, and I recognize the energy, by the way, so filled with that life. But I remember, do you remember the first time we came there? And she was talking so fast. I said, that was beautiful, but just slow it down. And then I'm watching her year after year after year, poised. I watch her at the vegetarian thing and just watching you bloom, not only as a practitioner, but as a spectacular speaker and a teacher before you even started. So you should be very proud of yourself. And I don't know how long we'll be able to hold you in this particular, but we've got ways. It's got you spiritual mind treatment. Yeah, so thank you so much. I mean, just round of applause. And we also have our donation baskets are out just so we can continue to, and the book, we have how many left? 3. All right. So thank you so much. Excellent job. Excellent job.